Yeah, no problem. One more.
You know that he is the star, right?
I was born in a small town called Kuching in the state of Sarawak in Malaysia. Whenever I go back now, I always refer it to the best place on earth. My adopted mother was essentially a single mother raising 8 kids on her own. The most important thing my mother told us, for me and my sister and all my sisters, was the value of education. My childhood was one that was suspended in time. You know, I grew up with all the best memories and all the best qualities of living in a small town.
Well, guys, I'm Mark, and I want to thank Coach Campbell for giving me a second to talk to you guys. I went to high school here a long time ago. I'll tell you a little bit more about that. And just by chance, I got really caught up in soccer after I left here, even more than I was when I was here, and started going to the World Cups. And my wife talked me into dressing up the costume, and I chose an eagle costume, and that kind of got caught on. We didn't have soccer. I was probably the first person to ever play organized soccer out of this high school. Last time I played, without my over 50 league team this year, my center midfielder was Landon Donovan. He did a pretty good job of controlling things in front of me. So I'm expecting whoever's on my team to do as well as Landon did controlling things out there. Okay, guys?
I hardly dated when I was in Vancouver, and I never dated when I was in Malaysia because my family's very traditional. And so, almost all my sisters had arranged marriages. I knew what I wanted and what I didn't want in a boyfriend. Here was somebody who was new and who was cute and who seemed fairly normal. And so, because I had this date or dance coming up, I felt like I could ask somebody like that because he was just different, refreshingly different.
So we met in October of 1987. We finally got married in 1991.
In Montana.
And in 92
in Malaysia. So I think my first men's game that I went to, it was in 96 in Atlanta. And we went, and my daughter was 1.5, and Mark wanted us all to go to soccer games, so we went with friends. And I remembered when the U.S. scored their first goal, my daughter Emma just burst into tears and screamed because she was so frightened by all the noise. Went to the Korean World Cup, or the World Cup in Korea. I felt so proud. It was like a transformative moment for me. And I must say, that's my thing. Every game I tell Mark, we must be there before the national anthem because I love being there when the national anthem is played. And then when they say land of the free and home of the brave, I really do believe at 110% that we had land of the free and home of the brave, and immensely proud to represent America.
People say, oh, we have 350 million people, and country X has, 10 million people. How can we possibly not be better at soccer specifically than them? That was one of the big things that brought me to the U.S. Team, was that it was country, but it was a whole different, it was the underdog.
I kept hearing it over and over again. My friends in Asia and the people we met in Africa would tell us over and over again, you may not be the best team, but we love your team because you play with a big heart.
When I was first diagnosed, I just was not going to tell anybody. That was kind of what I thought. I just, and then a couple weeks later, I was like, oh, I have to tell Leela. And then I remember that I was going to tell you guys too. 24 years later, and I'm back in the VA. I never thought I would come back as a patient, that's for sure. I never thought I'd have an illness. Never dreamed that.
We just kept waiting for you to say something. Or when he told us, I think it was kind of a disbelief. Knowing Mark, this was just going to be an obstacle that was going to make him a better person, and all of us.
I think the thing that really endures for us is our small town values, because even though we are from completely different parts of the world, we both grew up in small towns where things like honoring your word is important. Love lasts forever. And I knew that when I met him, that those were the kind of values that he had. So I think that's why I knew then that he was probably the person for me.